most prized possession on the shelf over here.
Or one of them.
I'll show you. I'll bring it down so the camera can see it. Oh man, on this wall probably I have the original Spider-Man action figures.
Nice.
From the first... That's a car. From the first movie. So this is a 2-pack, Green Goblin and Spider-Man. So this one is worth about $600.
Wow.
So just because it's a 2-pack and it's so rare and so...
Where did you get it?
I got it from a buddy of mine who has a bunch of Spider-Man stuff, and I actually started buying them before all of this Spider-Man craze started happening. I don't know if you've heard about all of it.
Is it very recent? I
Well,
mean, I
yeah.
know there's been a few movies out recently in the past 10 years.
Well, they just brought back Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's why those ones are shooting up in value ridiculously. And I got them before all of this started to happen, so I'm so thankful that I'm not paying as much as I did for those figures now.
They have appreciated significantly.
Yeah.
You're a wise investor.
I am. I gotta say I am. But
you only invest in things that you enjoy yourself, right?
That is starting to change because a younger self would buy the Spider-Man action figures and buy the comic books or the autographs from different various people, but I'm now investing in other places as well.
Right.
Trying to
play in the market.
Yeah, trying to diversify.
Little crypto.
Yeah, actually, I do. I have a little bit of crypto, but that's not where all of my eggs are. So,
yeah, diversification.
Are you in a little bit of crypto yourself, or?
A little bit is exactly how to describe it. Just to be part of the action, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm not doing okay.
No.
That's
all right. I mean,
but I did buy Moderna at $27. So. Moderna, the vaccination.
The stock price. Oh, okay.
Well, it was still in trials.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was all right.
Is it dropping now?
I sold it a long time ago, but
right on.
I did okay with that one.
Oh, as long as you.
And we're not going to talk about all my bad plays.
No, definitely
in
not.
The stock market or anywhere else.
Right. But I'm glad to have you back on. It's been over a year since we talked the first time, so thank you for agreeing to come on again.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm glad you're popping them out still. And I looked at it. I saw you also produced a movie, Persist,
Pursue, and Carry On.
Right, yeah. And Persevere is in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's all kinds of words. They're all what the guests that I had on told me, the advice that they told me. So
right.
It seems a little, I don't know the word for it, but it is a lengthy title, but I'm very proud of what I came out with, walked away with. You got to check it out, a little bit of it?
I have not seen it. I just noticed that you had done it. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh, Mitchell Ryan."
You know Mitchell?
Yeah, we've worked together a couple of times, I think, way back in the day. I mean, one time he was playing the President of the United States in a CBS miniseries called Favorite Son. And I was his Weasley assistant. And they ended up turning it into the series Mancuso FBI that I did, playing a different character, but with Robert Loggia. But yeah, Mitch is a great guy.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you had Ed Asner on too, right?
Yeah, I went down the route of, I think I talked to a man named Jack Betts, who was a spaghetti western actor. Mm-hmm. And so he was actually in the same hotel as Clint Eastwood in Italy, where they had the Hollywood in Italy. I forgot where exactly that was, but he had a contract, and his contract was for everywhere except Canada and the United States, whereas Clint Eastwood's was everywhere and Canada and the US. So he was this big star in Italy and whatnot. It
Right.
was really, really inspiring. So I thought,
Why would
okay,
they
who?
construct a contract like that? To
I don't
protect
know.
Clint Eastwood? Give him no competition in that market?
When you say it like that, I mean, it is Clint.
Yeah.
Possibly. Possibly. But I mean, he said himself, I don't know why my manager agreed to the contract, and I'm like, neither do I. That sounds like a pretty crappy contract, but he's 93 now and lived a good life. He was actually Doris Roberts' best friend. They
Oh,
were
okay.
best friends. Yeah, he escorted her to all the different red carpets and stuff like that. But
Right.
that's what led me to interviewing elder actors and actresses, or I should say veteran actors and actresses, and then I even got to people on long different careers, like Lois Lowry, the author of The Giver, and Ed Asner, and even Carol Burnett came on.
Yeah, that must have been neat.
I got the email went to my spam folder, and I saw it, and then it said Carol Burnett she has agreed. I'm like, this has been in my junk folder for 2 weeks now.
Right.
So,
You know,
but we
you
went on the
have to
call.
add Carol Burnett to your contact list, Steph.
I know. It was a private number, but I'm still hoping for a Christmas phone call or something. But what's been new with you since everything? I mean,
Well, last week we just finished a new Netflix series called Partner Track, about, you're on track to make partner at the law firm. And I'm in 5 of the 10 episodes. It's a lot like my role in Dr. Death. It's a perfect gig for me. I was employed for more than 4 months, and I had to go in once every 2 weeks, to
right?
shoot a scene. So for somebody as lazy and unambitious as myself, it was the perfect gig. But it should be good. It'll be out on Netflix in the fall.
Right on. How has the industry changed? I mean, it must have changed quite significantly with the lifting of restrictions and whatnot.
Well, they haven't been lifted on the sets. They're still, they're still very rigid with masking and testing and vaccination, and rightfully so. I mean, the job I just finished, they were supposed to end 3 weeks earlier, I think, and it got pushed back a couple of times because people were getting sick. So
right, as long as you're getting paid, I mean, an extra few
well,
weeks.
unfortunately, I couldn't take my trip to San Diego to see my kids.
Oh,
that got knocked out, which is unfortunate because in the middle of February. Where are you? You're up in Canada somewhere, right?
yeah, Niagara Falls.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's pretty cold up there right now. It's pretty cold here and nasty too in New Jersey.
Where are you? Jersey?
Yeah, I look forward to that February trip to San Diego to see my kids and break up winter a little bit.
Yeah. I get tired of winter. Winter's so tiring. Jersey's probably about the same, isn't it? Did you guys get hit by that snowstorm?
It used to be, I grew up here and we used to have a lot of snow. Now maybe we'll get a snowstorm twice a year for, 5-6 inches. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, things have changed a lot because of COVID in the industry. Now all of our auditions are like you and I are doing here,
Yeah.
And I don't think they're ever going back. The casting directors can see 15 times as many people in a day, and it's worked out well for me because people can't see how short I am, so they give me the job. I've been working a lot since then. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm convinced it's because they can't see how short I am.
Right on. But so how many auditions do you think that you do in the span of, let's say, a month, I guess, just for...
It varies.
Yeah.
It varies,
Because I'm looking into it myself. I used to do it when I was young. I was on a TV show called, and this is going to be cut out, Paranormal Survivor.
Oh, right, yeah.
It still airs on TV. It's little silent on camera gig. And so I've been thinking about diving into that world, but where to start? I mean, where to start? That's the
Well,
question.
you've got, well, another way things have changed is you probably have a good amount of social media followers, right?
It
Go
grows
ahead, brag a little bit.
slowly.
Yeah,
It grows slowly.
right.
I it could
Well,
have
that's
been
big
better,
at getting
but
casting now,
yeah,
believe it or not. Yeah. How many
it
followers do they have?
yeah.
But you should do it, Dad. You got a good look. You're a personable young man. You're
Thank you.
smart. You know,
Thank you. Do you have your guitar kicking
I
around?
work with, a bunch of Canadians all the time.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of filming in Atlanta?
No, I haven't filmed in Atlanta in a long time, but there are a lot of shows there. I auditioned for a couple of shows last week that
Mm-hmm.
shoot in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. I want to go down to see the Center of Puppetry Arts, which has all of Jim Henson's works in there. That would be
Uh-huh.
really cool. But yeah, I heard the same thing. Atlanta is basically the new Hollywood. There's all of the Marvel movies are filmed there.
Right.
All on big film sets in Atlanta. And I was thinking, are you a fan at all? What's your take on superhero movies? Because you could definitely be a bad guy. Just from the works that I've seen you in before, I know that you've got the bad bone. What do you think?
I'm too short.
You're too short?
Yeah.
They wouldn't know that.
What actor wouldn't want to be on a franchise movie like that, or one of those?
Right.
But I don't watch them.
Hmm.
I've never gotten excited by action movies for some reason.
No.
Even like Bullet, the car chase, it goes on too long for me.
Right. I agree. I just
I watched a
recently.
movie last night called Private Life with Paul Giamatti. It's very low key, just talky, and I like boring movies like that.
Right. Well, I mean, there's
Character driven, boring movies. But that's just for me watching.
right.
If someone were to offer me a villain role in a Marvel movie, I don't think I'd turn it down.
Of course not. But what genre? What are some of your favorite movies then? If you think that your taste is so boring, I have to disagree. I have such a wide taste as well. What are some of your favorites?
Oh, superlatives. Boy, there's so many good movies. What pops into my head? Birdman with Michael Keaton.
Okay.
And a lot of it, but well, of course, I relate to it as a old actor, but just the film work as well. I really appreciated. There was no cuts in it, in any of it. It was just one big long take, pretty much. I mean, yeah, they did cut. They would go to a brick wall of a building and then continue on. But during scenes, there was no cuts. So I really appreciated that. And I remember once, I think it was Seth Rogen? Yeah, Seth Rogen's in it. He was like in the fifth building that this take was going to happen to. It happens on stage. Backstage, he runs out into the alley, goes down the street, hops into a bodega, comes out, and then goes into Seth Rogen's store. And the take is like 15 minutes long. And Seth Rogen's sitting there. He's the last guy. And he goes, if I blow my line, I just cost millions of dollars and we're going to have to do this all over again. Just don't blow your line.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've seen some scenes from the movie and stuff like that. Camera work, I agree that it's something special for movies like that. I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. Have you ever seen any of his movies?
Sure. Quirky stuff all over it.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of stuff that he does with the long pans and the POV shots. It's different. It's unique, I guess. It has character. Go ahead.
Filmmaking is very often feats of strength. What can we do all together? Like, I think of The Revenant. Every single setup was a logistical nightmare, and everyone's freezing. And somehow they got all that equipment up there, the jibs up on the mountaintop. How did you do that? So it's fun to watch people pull off those stunts, of muscle filmmaking.
For sure. Um, I wanted to ask you a couple questions about Lost because we always end up going down that road. It's such a
Right.
prominent and still today, I'm part of a group on Facebook. I got a few questions for you later on, but Lost is still around and people are still watching it. And I was wondering,
And they're still making rip-offs of it.
right?
I see advertising all the time for shows that just look like Lost.
Manifest, I think was
Yeah,
the big
right.
show. Yeah.
Right. Well, why not? You know, it was a groundbreaking series.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
And I
It
still think
definitely
the
was.
first hour of that was some of the best television ever. Yeah,
Lost.
yeah, the first hour
Yeah,
before
oh
things
yeah,
got confusing, they were just awesome and
yeah, yeah,
thought-provoking.
for sure. But I was gonna ask you how you're reminded of it. Do you see it in your day-to-day life? Do you think about it? No, no.
No. Well, my wife was in Hawaii earlier this month. She was there for 2 weeks, and I couldn't go because of she. Well, I wasn't going to go. I was going to go to San Diego, like I told you, to see my kids, and on the way
Right.
back, she was going to stop and hang out with us for a little while. Uh, but when we talk about Hawaii, we remember when we were there for Lost and places we went, and wonder if that's still there. So
Yeah,
yeah, Lost came up in that conversation, but only because of the hotels and the
yeah.
restaurants.
I wanted to also ask, because we both talked about Ed Asner and you said that you had worked with him as well, what story you have with Ed?
Well, it was fun. It was a TV movie with Ed Asner and Mary Tyler Moore. It was their reunion. I think it was like 1996 or something. And so that was kind of fun. I remember walking into our one day of rehearsal and seeing Ed Asner and Mary Tyler Moore sitting there
Yeah,
together. You know,
yeah.
he and I got along real well. He's a great guy. I remember busting his chops. You know, he's very politically active,
Oh yeah.
and just to bust his chops, I said something. I think it was Prop 86 in California at the time that had racist overtones to it, and I said something in support of it, and it came up in the conversation, and
Yeah.
I did it just to see his reaction, and
There
he was
was
a
one.
pit bull. He was ready to go, and I
Yeah.
said, "I'm just kidding, Ed."
Yeah, yeah. When I was researching him, a lot of the footage that I saw of him in documentaries and whatnot definitely didn't calm my nerves about going into the interview because Ed was, according to everybody, he's a grump. And
Oh,
when I got onto the call with him, he was very sweet and he imparted a lot of wisdom. And I was going in there just like when I was about to go on the phone with Carol Burnett, and my nerves are just like, oh boy, this is a lot. And
yeah.
but when I got on it, like you said, I mean, he's a nice guy, and he really I was scared, but he made it easy for me. And then at the end of the interview, he said that he had a good time and that I'm a good interviewer. So I'm very thankful for that moment.
Yeah.
You know. Um,
I think the little time I spent with him, I think that grumpy persona is his character
yeah, it is.
that he
Absolutely.
plays. He was
Absolutely.
he was always a sweetheart. But I wouldn't want to get into a political argument with him.
No, no, I would not.
He's very well informed and vehement in his positions. Good for
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Because I have you here now, and this is kind of my updated interview because everything that I did back when COVID first started, I can't wait to never say that word again. Um, it was all experimental, and which is why I appreciate everybody who did agree to come on with me because I am some kid from Canada who I'm not a kid anymore. I turned 18.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you can't get away with that anymore, Devin.
Nope, nope.
You're still a young man, but you're no kid.
But we're here now, and the
Despite all the
quality is
comic books and figurines
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah. So backdrop, everybody. But I also wanted to hear from you a little bit about why you started acting, where you started acting, like how you started going down that road. As broad of a question as it is, you can give me whatever kind of answer you'd like.
Well, that's an easy one for me. I grew up in a family that community theater was my parents' hobby. They were always presidents of whatever local community theater wherever we lived, and I was on stage when I was 6, 7 years old, and I enjoyed it, and I just kept doing it, and that was it.
And that was it.
You know, I moved to New York right after high school, and I started working. You know, I got lucky.
Yeah. Right.
And that's it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What wisdom do you have to part? I know.
To someone who would say,
yeah,
I want to be an actor?
Yeah. I mean, in today's time, it's so different, right? I mean, everybody wants to be an actor now.
When I first moved to New York, I just sent my picture and resume to every casting director in town, and I got a call. You can't do that anymore. You know,
not really.
No, unsolicited material to an agency or a management company now probably goes right in the circular file.
Yeah.
My advice would be, you know, don't do this unless you really have to, right. unless it's what you got to do.
Right.
I mean, I was lucky. My parents took me into New York all the time when I was a kid, and I would see plays, and I just thought the whole thing was magic. And I wanted to be a part of it, and I was already a part of it, you know, and that's what I wanted more than anything. Well, after I couldn't hit a curveball, you know, I would have played baseball if I could have. Right. But yeah, because it's the only sport that takes short guys. But my advice would be don't do it unless you really have to, unless you think it's part of you. It's what you need to do. You don't want to be on your deathbed saying I should have about anything in life, you know. I should have tried, but it's not an easy life, you know. The vast majority of people don't make a living doing it, that's for sure.
Right.
So
yeah, I hear a lot of that.
And it except for the art of writing or the profession of writing, there is no career with more inherent rejection. It just, you know, I'm lucky if I get I figured it out. I get like 4% of my auditions.
You've nailed it down to a percentage?
Yeah, over 40 years of working, how many times I audition a year, rough, how many jobs I get, you know, I figured it's like 4%, you know, and I make a pretty good living doing this. So, so what's the percentage for people who don't make a good living doing this?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I talked to a friend of mine. He's maybe 30, wonderful actor, and he had 16 auditions last year. That was it. You know, actors count things like that when there's so few, when they're easy to count. You know, so it's just tough for him, and he's as good as anybody. Yeah. But if you got to do it, man.
Yeah, if you got to do it, do it. If it's in your bones, do it.
Yeah. If not, get a regular job and do community theater on the weekends, like my parents did.
Yeah.
You get all the camaraderie and the exhilaration, you know, and your life doesn't depend on it.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned writing. Do you write yourself very often?
I've had several short films. A few of them have won dozens and dozens of awards, writing awards. Some of them, I wrote a book once that got the Best Fiction Award at the Southern California Writers Conference and the La Jolla Writers Conference, and it goes nowhere. But I did make some friends at these places. That, matter of fact, you know, a very successful writer I met said that to me. Why would you pick a job that the only job that has more inherent rejection than acting? That's where I got that line that I said to you earlier.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Do we know who this is?
Well, she wrote a book that was made into a movie called Pay It Forward.
Okay.
Her name's Catherine Ryan Hyde.
Okay.
She's been on the New York Times bestseller list many times.
Right. Right on. But Fred, if we could dive into some fan questions, that'd be awesome.
Sure.
Which means we have to strap our thinking caps on for answers, because they just want to know right from Marshall. They want you to be Marshall Edwards and have the answers. So let's pretend we do. Oh, but before that, do you have your guitar on hand? No, they don't want you in character, but the questions that they're asking, it's like, okay, I don't think that Fred will definitely know what happened.
That's the first thing that popped into my head. I'm probably not going to know any of these answers. They know better than I do.
But I think that's
let's give it a shot.
Fun about it. But before I get into that, I wanted to know if you have your guitar.
I do.
Because last time...
Yeah, I couldn't play that song. I have trouble playing in front of people. Like my fingers seize up. I don't get stage fright.
What you mean?
Huh?
I know what you mean. Like,
yeah. I don't get stage fright acting, but I can't play guitar.
Right. But I can play Wish You Were Here Now.
Okay.
I nailed it. I did get it. So I'm gonna
let's hear it.
I'm gonna play it because just to anybody who's seen both interviews, this will follow up and it makes sense. So whether or not I can do it with you on call or on camera, it's a different question, because every time I record, it just doesn't really work. But we'll give it a shot. I'll do the intro.
And you're talking yourself right out of it now, Devin.
Yeah, I am. Okay. All right, so.
Good job.
And that is the entire year since we last played.
Yeah, you've done nothing but practice that.
That has been my... Oh man, okay. I'm just gonna reboot the camera because it's a pain in the butt. But okay, fan questions. Fred, I didn't even ask. You mind being called Fred, or do you prefer Fredric?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you prefer Dev or Devin?
I prefer Dev.
You got it.
Doesn't matter though. When people call me Devin, it's okay. It's all right. All right, so this is from the Ancient Darkness on Reddit. He said, "Did you watch Lost? And if you did, how many times?"
I did watch Lost, probably the first season, and whenever I was on, to be honest.
Fair enough. Pocket Small 16 on Reddit asked, "How long did the makeup take to put the shrapnel in your stomach?"
Oh, that was a tough day actually, because where they had it, it was right below. It was right on my diaphragm, right. And no matter how hard I tried, even when I was holding my breath, it would wobble back and forth, like with my pulse. Mm. It started angering J.J. Abrams, I remember. But it wasn't all that long. Just trying to get it not to wobble was a problem. And then when I was lying down there, a scorpion crawled up. Right, some guy in the crew comes up and he goes, "Don't move." I don't know how dangerous the Hawaiian scorpions are. I didn't even know they had scorpions in Hawaii. They do.
Neither did I.
But,
that's pretty interesting. I would have just freaked right out.
and another thing I remember from lying down there, you'd think spending all that time lying on a beach in Hawaii would be easy. I said, I can't wait for this. But, they put sticky blood all over you. There's sand stuck to you. It's getting hot. And it became tiresome real quick. And there was one time Jorge had to pass out and fall on top of me.
Yep.
Jorge's 350 pounds, probably, at this time. And I almost died. I almost died under there.
And he's probably he's probably sweating his butt off.
Yeah, he probably wasn't having much fun either. He's a wonderful guy. He's so friendly and funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. Before I go to the next one, I want to ask, because nobody responded in any of the supernatural groups or anything like that, but I wanted to know what your experience was in a nutshell working on Supernatural.
It was a ton of fun. The character was so much fun because he completely over the top. I could chew scenery with abandon and impunity, and having the contact lenses in was interesting because I couldn't see. I could see light sources, and that was it. So it was an interesting acting exercise for a while, whose novelty wore off pretty quick. But just navigating that was always a lot of fun. I did scenes where I'm always walking on gravelly road or through the woods or something, and I can't see, and there's roots and rocks, and a lot of scenes you don't see off camera. I'm holding a grip's hand.
Oh yeah, guiding
just to make sure I'm going in the right place and I don't fall down. The boys are they're really wonderful guys. They really are. It was nice to see. I'd come back every now and then, and they're all incredibly rich and incredibly famous now, and they haven't changed at all. They're just sweet guys.
It's good when fame doesn't taint, because then you can remain in good friends and good spirits and whatnot.
Keep your head about you.
Prof Smoke on Reddit and Martin on Facebook actually asked the same question. Where do you think that your character in Lost would have gone if he survived? What do you think Kate and Edward's relationship would have looked like once they realized help wasn't coming?
Well, he did survive. He's in the last episode chasing Kate away from the airport. I think he, being the world's worst law enforcement officer, I think he finally got fired. They caught on to him, and he was working as a security guard in a used car lot, yelling at kids.
Yep. There's your answer.
No, he really was the world's worst law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a little 100-pound girl who beats him up every time they get together, and he loses her again. It was pretty pathetic.
It's a pretty bad game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
I got to meet Evangeline in Toronto a few years ago, and she was sick, so I got a fist bump. And I told her I watched Lost when I was 12, and she's like, "Oh, that's a little young." I'm like, "Yep, definitely was a little young, but still was." It is.
Did you say, "And I've been in love with you ever since"?
No, I didn't get to that part. It just kind of stuck here about, and then it didn't go any further than that.
Right.
Thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Fred, for joining me on the Dev Show again. It's been swell.
It has been fun.
All right, and we'll talk to you in a year from now.
Okay, and I'll work on the tune.
Sounds good.
Right,
yeah, you work on your guitar. Sweet.